So there are many change frameworks out there in the world. I mean, there's so many examples of change frameworks that sometimes it's hard to sort of keep up. And a lot of them really talk about how you navigate from where you are until you get to the moment where you have real engagement with your stakeholders. And some of them have like 8 steps, 6 steps, 7 steps. It's a lot of steps to follow. And the way I've been thinking about it is maybe you don't need so many steps. If you can compress the steps, maybe that will give us a deeper understanding of how change actually happens. And one of the things that I disagree with in a lot of the frameworks is they usually focus on bringing everyone along at the same time. So create a sense of urgency, have big launch events, bring everyone along, talk about change to everyone in the organization. The big launch is something that I don't agree with, because I think when you launch your change initiative to everyone at the same time, you trigger resistance before you have any momentum to start driving the change. I prefer that people gain a foothold, work with early adopters, get visible results, celebrate those results, and then use those results to bring other people along with you. So with that in mind, we have to really think about how the transformation journey works, right? How do you create momentum? Well, you create momentum by getting people to buy in. But the way you get people to buy in is by engaging in consistent actions that produce visible results. And then with those visible results, you get to create buy-in. And as that flywheel of momentum starts turning, you can then start thinking about how do you use that flywheel to actually, drive the change and move through the journey of transformation itself. And the first step along the journey of transformation is what I call ignite. This is when you are starting the transformation. And the whole point of starting a transformation is not to get everyone involved, but to gain a foothold, to start working with early adopters and champions and produce early wins. Those early wins become the story you use to bring everybody else along. And once you've found your champions and you're creating these early wins, you can then move to the second stage of transformation. And this is a stage we call Cascade, right? So you start the transformation with Ignite, and then you spread the transformation by cascading it through the organization. This is when you leverage your stories from the Ignite phase of transformation, bring people along, tell those stories, and start spreading the change to the rest of the organization. I believe that change that has momentum is far easier to stop in its tracks than bringing everyone along before you've actually created that momentum. And the whole point of the Cascade phase, which is the second phase, is to get to the tipping point. Research shows that when you get over 25% of people believing in an initiative, supporting an initiative, and willing to participate in an initiative, you get to that tipping point for change, which then makes the change much more inevitable. Which then takes us to the final stage of change, which we call embed. So you spread the change, and then you embed the change, right? And when you're trying to embed the change, all you're now doing is institutionalizing your wins. So if you've got an innovation framework, you're now, embedding innovation boards, you're now putting it in budgets, you're now putting it in incentives and rules of how the organization works. But you can't do that at the beginning. At the beginning, you have to create momentum. And in the middle, you have to cascade the change. And only at the end can you really embed the change, right? So you start the change, you spread the change, and then later on, you sustain the change by embedding it throughout the organization. These are the 3 phases of change. And I believe that if we maybe think about all the change frameworks we're using that lens, we may be more likely to actually create momentum and get sustainable success. So to help people get started with their change, we run 90-day Ignite sprints. So that's when we identify your early adopters, we help you create those early wins. And so we run these 90-day sprints. These are the Ignite sprints for the early stage to help you gain a foothold. So if you're interested in Ignite sprints, please click on the link in the description below and get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to help you.